Our videos usually show us starting processes like the application server from the console. Now this is great for testing and development, but when you're ready to deploy, you'll want to create a service to manage the application server without having a console window open all the time. This can be done with the isserver command using these options shown here to start, stop, and check the application server. The isserver wrapper is in the isCOBOL bin folder, and it looks at two other files in the bin folder to decide the environment and configuration that it's going to use when it starts. The first one is the default java.conf. That contains the environment settings, the location of isCOBOL and Java. And by the way, this is used by all of the wrappers in the bin folder. The other important file in the bin folder is the isserver.options. Now these are the configuration variables that can change the behavior of the service. We're going to be looking at these options a lot in the demonstration. Now quite often you'll want to start more than one service on a server, maybe for a test environment or for a backup. Here's the script I'm going to use to do that in the demonstration. Notice that I'm exporting the variables that I need instead of setting them in isserver options. In addition to starting and managing the isserver from the command prompt, you may want to automate the startup to happen every time the computer is booted up. Now that's done in Linux by running a shell script as systemd. You do that by creating a .service file, and the one that I'm going to use is shown here. Then you're going to load it and enable it, and you can also start it manually and check its status. So let's go do that. I'm on my Linux server and I have an application in my app. I've just put one of our sample programs, the bars GUI sample, and a properties file in this folder. And I want to go to my isCOBOL bin folder now. And let's look at the two files that my service is going to use. The first one is defaultjava.conf, showing where the Java and isCOBOL folders are. And this was created when I installed isCOBOL. And the other one is isserver.options. And I've already modified it by adding to isserver options what I would normally put on the command line if I started from the console. The home is the home of my application. I have some Java options, and I'm specifying a special place to put the PID and log files. So let's start the server, just with a start, and we'll check it, status, and if we look at the environment, we can see that it was started correctly with all the variables that I needed. So let's go test it. And there's the bars program. It runs great. Now I would like to start it with a script, so let's stop it here. And I'm going to comment out the lines in the isserver options. And go back to my home. And let's look at the script called asprod. Clear the screen. And here's my script. It's got the same options, a few others. It's got the full path to isserver. Let's use the script to start the server. asprod.sh, and I'll start. And we'll check the status and the environment. Looks good. Let's run our test again. And it works fine. Okay. Now I want to do the same thing with my test. Let's clear the screen again. And I have a script that will run it on a different port with a different home and a different properties file, a different name for the log and PID files, but the same folder. So let's start that. And let's take a look in the logs folder. Now I have a log for each one. There's my isserver and my test. And let's check, make sure that the test side is running. Change the port, and it's running fine. Great. So now I'm going to stop them both. Let's clear the screen, run our scripts, And I just wanted to show you that I have another script where I put them together called asall. So I'm setting these variables and then starting isServer with whatever command I pass it. And then I set them to the test environment, and then I do the same, set them. So now we're going to set both with one command. Start. You can see I have two different PID numbers. Let's go check it. And in this case, I want to run the panel. We'll start with the test environment 1099. It's admin. Admin. And there's the one for 1099. And then I want to run the one for our production site. Same thing, admin and admin. And there's the one for port 1234. So now if I want to run my bars with both ports, here's one, there's the other. Go back here, F5. I can see my connection on the production side, and here F5, I can see it on the test side. So now that we have all those scripts, let's set the scripts up to start automatically when the system is rebooted. So let's clean up a little bit here. And let's stop. In my systems lib systemd system folder, I've created two services, asprod service and astest. Let's clear and look at asprod. So here's my service document with my stop and start, and I'm specifying the script that I just verified works. And I have the same thing with astest. It's just going to the test script. Let's clear that. Now, because I'm working with the system services, I need to be a super user. I'm going to reload the services. Anytime you change a service, you should reload them. And then I'll enable each one. And so now they're ready to go. Now I can start them manually. And I can check their statuses. And it says it's running. This is the test one. Check the prod status. And it is also running. And then I'll run our little test here. Here's for the production site. And here's the test site. And there's our two bar programs. And there's some information about how to start the application server on a Linux machine when you're ready to go to production. If you have any questions, you can contact us at support@variant.com. Thank you.